Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain a Mexican horror thriller film from 2012, titled Come Out and Play. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. The movie begins with people celebrating Carnival in Mexico, where we meet Francis asking random men where he can find a boat for rent. He's directed to meet a man named Gerardo at Fido's bar. At the bar, Francis finds Gerardo enjoying himself with a prostitute, and when he asks Gerardo about renting a boat, Gerardo initially refuses, stating he only uses the boat for work. However, after Francis persuades him with money, Gerardo agrees to his request and asks Francis to return the next day. Returning home, Francis informs his pregnant wife, Beth, that he has found a boat for their vacation, making her happy. The next morning, the couple meets Gerardo at the seashore, and after paying the money, Gerardo rents the boat to them, and the couple sets off to the remote island. Upon reaching the island, they encounter kids playing on the dock, and one of the kids kindly helps them with their luggage. Francis tries to start a conversation with one of the kids, but the child doesn't respond, so the couple decides to head to the village. To their surprise, they discovered that the street was empty, with no adults in sight. The couple decided to head to a local restaurant, and upon arrival, they found the restaurant deserted. Beth complained of hunger, so Francis gave her some soda and grabbed a beer for himself. Realizing there was no food in the restaurant, Francis decided to go to a nearby store, and on his way, he entered a building but found it empty. At the store, he picked up a hat, some food for his pregnant wife, and a toy for their unborn child. Unaware, he left the store without noticing a dead body behind the counter. Alone in the restaurant, Beth was startled by a girl named Maria who entered, placed her ear on Beth's stomach, and then left. When Francis returned from the store, he told Beth he hadn't seen anyone there, which worried her more. She then shared her encounter with Maria, and during their conversation, the couple were startled by a kid from the earlier film, watching them from outside. When Francis tried to talk to the kid, he ran away, and Francis chased after him, but lost sight of the boy. The couple decides to leave the restaurant due to the unsettling encounter they just experienced. They head to the nearest hotel, hoping to rent a room and speak with some adults about what is happening in the village. To their surprise, the hotel is deserted, even the receptionist's table is empty. After learning that there are some Swedish people around, Francis decides to head upstairs to look for them, leaving his pregnant wife behind. Inside the hotel, Francis checks each room but finds them all empty, and upon his return downstairs, he can't find his wife anywhere, so he decides to go outside, where he spots her. Beth tells him that she just saw an old man nearby, and suddenly a girl runs past them, grabs a staff, and starts beating the old man. Francis intervenes, but the girl just laughs before running away. Francis helps the old man and goes to a nearby inn to get alcohol and bandages to treat his wounds. However, upon his return, he discovers that the old man is gone, leaving behind only a trail of blood. Francis follows the trail and arrives at a house where he sees the old man being dragged by a swarm of kids. They begin stabbing him with sharp objects before ultimately dropping a large rock on his head, ending his life. Terrified, Francis searches for Beth and finds her being threatened by the same girl who attacked the old man with a staff. Francis intervenes, and the couple hurriedly return to the hotel, locking the door behind them. Francis then reveals to Beth what he witnessed, explaining that the kids showed no remorse and continued laughing while killing the old man, and their conversation is interrupted by a call from a nearby radio. Francis answers it, but he can't understand what the dispatcher is saying, and the call abruptly ends. Panicked, Beth persuades Francis that they should leave, but Francis insists they can't because he believes the kids may have destroyed their boats, and their only chance of survival is to stay in the hotel, and Francis then comes up with an idea. He arms himself with a stick and instructs Beth to watch the front door of the hotel and scream if she sees anyone. Francis heads upstairs once again, and this time, he discovers the dead bodies of a couple in one of the rooms, leaving him in shock. Francis, believing the killer might be nearby, enters a laundry to search for the assailant. However, he hears his wife scream from outside. Rushing out, he finds a man named Daniel pointing a broken bottle at Beth and him. After Francis reassures Daniel that they are not a threat, Daniel decides to back down, and this is when he reveals the truth. Daniel explains that the incident began the previous night when all the kids on the island woke up simultaneously, shouting and laughing. They then proceeded to enter different houses and attack all the adults. Daniel's wife stepped outside to see what was happening, but she too was attacked and stabbed to death. Despite having a rifle with him, Daniel couldn't fight back because they were just kids, which terrified him, and consequently, he decided to hide in the hotel. Their conversation is interrupted by a call from the radio, and this time the dispatcher is revealed to be a woman who is also trapped on the island. The kids are trying to break into her house, and before the call ends, the kids manage to break in. What happens to the woman remains unknown. Francis decides to head to the radio control station, believing that the woman might have been calling from there, which is located behind a church. He steps out of the hotel and heads to the radio control station, only to find it empty. He then decides to go to the church, where he finds a Jesus sculpture lying on the ground. As he investigates further, he discovers some kids playing with the corpse of a woman. Terrified, Francis rushes back to the hotel and informs Beth and Daniel about what he saw, insisting that they must leave the island immediately. Suddenly, Daniel's daughter starts calling him, but Francis urged Daniel to close the door, insisting that she is not his daughter. Daniel comes face to face with his daughter, who informs him that her mom and grandma are sick and she is afraid something might happen to them. She insists that he should come with her, and stupidly, Daniel agrees to go with her, and the couple can only follow behind. The girl eventually leads Daniel to the other kids, where he is beaten, and the couple can only watch from a distance, unable to intervene. Shocked by the incident, the couple decides to run back to the boat they arrived on the island with. Upon reaching it, they see a swarm of kids waiting for them. They eventually manage to escape into a nearby car and drive off, with the kids chasing them. Eventually, they lose sight of the kids and head to the other side of the island. There, they find a boat, but it is close to some unaffected kids playing in the water, and they also encounter an elderly woman, whom they explain the situation to. She lets them in and helps Beth to calm down, offering her tea to reduce her stress. Unbeknownst to the couple, the kids from the other side of the island have also reached their location. They observe as the nice kids start acting like the others they encountered earlier. Witnessing this transformation, the couple decides to leave the island, despite the elderly woman's attempts to persuade them to stay. As they depart, a swarm of kids can be seen approaching behind the woman. As they drive back to the other island they came from, it's nighttime, and the kids overwhelm them. They seek refuge in a jail where they find a gun from a dead officer before locking themselves in. The kids start banging on the door, and one of them grabs another gun from the dead officer. Unable to breach the door, they allow the boy with the gun to enter through a vent. Inside, the boy threatens Beth with the gun, prompting Francis to shoot and kill him when he spots him. The rest of the kids flee, leaving Beth in tears at the sight of what Francis had to do, and Francis tries to comfort her, but the situation remains tense. He then heads to the radio room, using the prison radio to send a message asking for help before returning to his wife with some water he found to quench her dehydration. Outside, the kids engage in horrifying activities. Some play with corpses, a girl drags a decapitated head on the floor, and another girl is seen making a necklace with various human body parts. In the middle of the night, Beth wakes up, claiming she hears something, like the baby inside her is laughing. Suddenly, she starts screaming, saying that the baby is stabbing and killing her, urging Francis to get it out. Francis is left confused because he doesn't know what is happening. Blood begins to come out between Beth's legs, and due to the overwhelming pain, she passes out, leaving Francis to cry out loud, feeling helpless and desperate in the face of the terrifying situation. After mourning his wife's death, Francis places her body on pieces of wood, covers her with a white cloth, pours some kerosene, and sets her body on fire. The next morning, he heads outside of the building holding a gun, and encounters the swarm of kids waiting for him. He uses the gun to do the unthinkable before dropping it and head to the boat. While untying the boat from the dock, some of the kids catch up to him, and he decides to fight back. Despite being stabbed in the back and leg, Francis manages to fend off the kids. Unfortunately, the Coast Guards arrive at the island, following the message Francis sent using the prison radio, and interrupt his confrontation with the kids by shooting him, resulting in his death. As the Coast Guards try to figure out what is going on, one of the kids kills them both by shooting them with their gun. In the final scene, the remaining surviving kids steal the Coast Guard's ship and make their way to the mainland, promising to come back for the little ones. Okay guys, that's all the recap about Come Out and Play from 2012. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.